Life doesn't happen in big plans. It happens in a moment. You turn a corner, you make a different decision, and suddenly everything changes. And so that's what it's like when you're on the street. You can't be early, you can't be late. You never know at any moment who might be coming by. There's no way to really plan any of that out. And even if you could say that you knew who was coming by, a particular type of group or a particular type of person, you have no idea if they feel generous or if they're interested in stopping or listening or if they're going to just walk on. There's no way to know. You have to start giving away before you can ever get. And that's true in a lot of things. You have to just start giving away and trying to send out a positive energy or positive flow into the universe in terms of what you're doing or what you're trying to share, and let that be enough. And if a person that you may never know came by and saw you, then it may have made a difference in their life. You have to really let things go as far as being where you need to be when you need to be there. That's the unique thing about being a busker, because most of the time people won't really get to hear an entire song. They won't really get to hear you play an entire set of music. It's not a performance like a restaurant or in a venue or a party or a club or something. It's more of a solitary thing in which you're just putting out something beautiful into the world and you're just letting it go. And that's where you have to be. In the picture, I hope it intrigued you. I'm glad that you clicked on it, and I hope that you're interested in seeing it, because there are three different pictures there. You saw a picture with some money, you saw a jar of change, and you saw a bag of peanuts. The bag of peanuts I carry with me because the crows are oftentimes the only thing really listening to me when I'm on the street. And so all the crows in the area know my truck. And so they come and sing with me, and they sit on the poles and they watch me sing. So the reality of it is you do not know who might come by or what that circumstance may be. So with contributing into the arts or contributing into a street performer like this, people want to contribute. People want to be a part of something. They want to encourage someone to do something. So if they see you out, even if you need practice, even if you're not perfect in what you're doing, if you're sincere and you're actually trying to do something creative, something interesting to look at, then people are generous and people are giving to try to help you out with that. The picture that I took, I had a successful period of time busking there. And so I'm not really sure how long a period of time that represents. And I'm not really sure how long ago it was. I've done this for over 11 years now. But you can sort of see in the variety of the bills the way that people were generous. One person actually gave a $50 bill, and that's just really doesn't happen. And so that's the reason I took a picture of that. There were several people that had contributed a $20 bill, and that's amazing. That's a tremendous thing when you're doing a street performance or when you're out and you're performing. That's a massive tip. Most people will tip a 5 or a 10, most a 5. And so the purple 5 on your $5 bills in your tip container Those are always a joy to see because that really adds up quick. But the thing that really adds up quick is the dollar bills, just the individual dollars that someone may give you. And that is really the beauty of it. It is something that everyone can participate, everyone can contribute in, and every one of those dollars adds up. And so if you look at the totality of that picture, it's probably maybe $100 and some dollars in that. So if you, right now there's a club in town that pays $75 for 3 hours. That's 3 45-minute sets, I would say, is probably, so about $25 an hour. Right now, federal minimum wage is somewhere in the $9 range, I still believe. And I believe that once you account for taxes and you've taken out your Social Security and things like that, you're really talking $7 to $9 an hour is a minimum wage on something. So if you go out to perform and you are performing and you've been there for an hour, and in that period of time you've made $10, you're making better than minimum wage. And you're doing something creative. You're doing something on your own time. You're doing something in your own way. And so there's a massive amount of benefit. It's also cash money. There's not going to get a check, getting it cashed, doing something like that. It's instantaneous as far as being able to have that money. When you're hired to play a club or a restaurant or something like that, generally there's some type of equipment that you have to bring. Some type of sound system, everything that you would have to go and set up. So take, for instance, a club that pays $75 for the 3 sets. That's $25 an hour. But that's not a load in and load out as far as putting all your equipment in your vehicle, driving down to the club, unloading all that equipment, setting it all up, hooking all the wires in, playing that period of time, then breaking it all down. So you can see how all of that sort of comes down. When you're playing or working on the street or you're performing or you're taking something, you want to travel as light as possible because it's a numbers game in that you don't want to have to set up, take a long time setting up. You don't want to take a long time breaking down. If for any reason it started to rain or you had to leave, you don't want to have a lot of things that you've brought with you that you're going to have to put on a hand cart. I can't imagine where you all may be. Some of you are in big cities. You may have to navigate getting in and out of buses, different types of subways or things like that. So don't think complicated. Think as minimalistic as possible as far as your instrument, your tip container, and a good sign. And I say a good sign just because that way people can find you later. They can understand who you are, be able to locate you, contact you if they want to pursue anything to do with your art or your music, something like that. But you also, when you're going out to perform, you can go to a festival. Others people talk about buskers coming to a festival or a farmer's market, those types of things. But understand this, is that at those farmers markets, at those festivals, the people there have worked and worked to create whatever it is that they brought with them to the festival. And they've had to load in, load out. They've had to buy the materials to build their craft or whatever it is that they're selling. They've had to set up a canopy, and they are committed to the entire weekend or to the entire festival to be there. A busker arrives when they want to, finds a spot that is not blocking traffic, not creating a noise complaint, something that's sort of tucked away. Set up your stuff, set up your sign, and start to play. When you're done, take your sign down, shut your stuff up, and leave. That's all the carry in, that's load in, load out involved in it. And so you can see how, in order to be fair to the crafters and all, it's good to mix it up sometimes. To, if you're doing a festival or something like that, to move around as far as where you set up and the way that you set up. Make sure that you're always helpful whenever you go out. And I'll do a video on like ways to approach the street. But it has to do with the amount of preparation that you have thought it through. The more you look like an act, the more people will respond to you like that. If you look homeless, if you look raggedy, if you look poorly dressed, then people are going to be more standoffish. They may not be able to be comfortable approaching you. They may not feel like that they want to contribute to someone who looks like that they're having a hard time. So if you're trying to be a positive influence in society, if you're trying to do something positive that you may be able to benefit from also, and believe me, you will, over time, it is the most fascinating thing to get to be invisible. When you go out to perform, you are invisible. I stand with a big hat on, playing the guitar, singing, and people walk by me as though I'm not there. And so it gives you an opportunity to really see how people relate to each other, how the world goes around as far as human interaction goes. So I hope that this intrigues you enough to continue to look at all manner of street performance. You could go dance, you could go sing, you could go do anything. Look over all the different types of things that you can do. Living statue. You'll be fascinated. Thank you so much for watching. I hope if you've been able to subscribe, I sure appreciate it. I finally got the camera well enough that I'm able to get you this information, and I will continue to do videos for you on how to do this and how you can get out and become a street performer and live your dream. So I look forward to seeing you on the street, and the best of luck to all of you. Stay safe and dry. Bye-bye.